This episode sponsored by Clio, cloud-based practice management software. Makes it easy to manage your law firm from intake to invoice. Try it for free at Clio.com. That's CLIO.com, CLIO.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On the Road with Legal Talk Network. My name is Jared Correia. I am the COO of Gideon Software, Inc. and the CEO of Red Cave Law Firm Consulting, and I'm your host today for today's show, which is being recorded on location at the 2019 Clio Cloud Conference in San Diego, California. Great place to have a conference, by the way. Ron Burgundy would be proud. Joining me now, I have three guests. I've got Andrew Gay and Jesse Harink from Clio, and Molly McDonough, who's here to judge the LaunchCode Competition. But I want you guys to introduce yourself, and then we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let's start with Andrew.
Hey guys, I'm Andrew Gay. I'm the manager of the app and developer ecosystem at Clio. So my job is really driving growth in our app directory, helping our partners develop powerful integrations for Clio, and making sure that our customers have some awesome choices when they want to connect Clio with powerful solutions.
Andrew's fantastic. I can say that both from experience and hearsay. Now, let's hit Jesse up.
Hi, my name's Jesse Harink, and I lead our employee experience team back at Clio. But for Clio Con, I am our main stage MC, also known as the hype man, to get things nice and energized for the audience. So here to make things fun and a little bit more flair to the event.
Can you describe your jacket? I don't feel like I can do it justice.
Well, I think the word you were looking for was perfect, in my opinion.
That was it, I think. Yes.
The jacket is a nice floral piece. It gave me this San Diego vibe of being on the beach, but yet colorful, but like a little bit overcast because I'm from Vancouver. I spend way too much time looking at clothes.
I got you. All right, and last of all, but not least, we have Molly McDonough. Molly, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Molly McDonough. I am the former editor and publisher of the ABA Journal and a longtime legal affairs journalist.
Awesome. All right, so let's dive into it. So folks out there who have been living under a rock probably may not know what LaunchCode is at Clio. So Andrew, can you talk a little bit about what this competition is and means?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not shy about where we got this from. LaunchCode is a competition for the best new integration for Clio. And we pulled this pretty directly from our good friends over at Intuit QuickBooks. I'm going to give a huge shout out to David Leary, who longtime evangelist in that ecosystem. He's been a mentor and a friend of mine for a long time, and David really helped us get this thing off the ground. The basic premise is that we want to drive growth through Clio's ecosystem. And so to incentivize that, we tried to basically put a big prize out there in the wild to say, look, like here's a challenge. Build us something cool. Build something powerful for our customers, and you might win $100,000.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right? For a startup company especially.
Absolutely.
And you've got a massive ecosystem in terms of integrations now as well. So over time, you've gotten more people to become involved with what you're doing. And so the competition, I'm assuming, has grown along with that, right?
You know, the competition is really, I think, it's really proven that there's a strong community of entrepreneurs that are excited about legal tech and they're excited about building powerful solutions. And what we can offer is this huge global community of Clio customers that are excited to try out these products. And LaunchCode is really kind of the icing on that cake, right? You know, at the end of the day, you came to Clio Con, you got a ton of exposure, you got a ton of excited customers that want to try your product, and you might walk away with $100,000. That's a pretty sweet deal.
And who did you have coming in this year, and how did you select them?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we had 5 outstanding finalists. So we had WiseTime, it's a passive timekeeping app based out of Brooklyn. We had CaseText, which is a legal research app based out of San Francisco. We had Haymarket, which is a business texting app also based in San Francisco. We had FirmTrack based out of Illinois, which is a KPI and dashboarding app. And we had the community lawyer guys who are building these really powerful customizable apps for Clio. So a really strong group. We had probably in total I think we ended up with about 70 eligible entrants this year. And what we do is we actually go through a really rigorous evaluation process. We use the same criteria actually that Molly went through for the finalist evaluation, and we score all of the individual entries. And then we end up basically pulling them out and then ranking them, and we took the top 5. So it was pretty intense. It was a long process, but it's great to have the 5 here.
Ties are broken using rock, paper, scissors. is what I understand.
Ties
Is that
are
correct?
broken using bribes and rock, paper, scissors. That's
bribes.
true.
Oh, good to know. Bribes. Sorry. Keep that. Be aware of that, everybody.
For the record, there is a the point distribution is pretty substantial. There were no ties, although it was close.
Oh, interesting. And as of this moment, we have no idea who has won the competition.
Correct.
But you
Actually,
will find out if you're listening to this podcast.
That is, well, nobody knows as of this moment who won. I have not looked at the ballots. Molly and I were talking about this earlier. That numerically, it's really hard to know. We're gonna tally the ballots over the next day. I won't say when or where we're gonna do it, and then Jack will reveal at his closing keynote. So it's a really exciting moment for everybody.
So this is day one of Clio Con. If you're listening to this podcast and you want to find out, use something called Google to look for 2019 launch code winners, and you should be all set.
Yeah, and somebody's walking away with $100,000. So
yeah, you mentioned that as well. So let me talk to Jesse, who's like the hype man. Jesse,
Yeah.
you're like a Twitter superstar. Everybody loves you at Clio Con.
I
This is
mean,
true.
superstar, international superstar, president of the world. I mean, those are all really good adjectives and descriptions of who I am. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. But like, how do you hype a program that's awarding $100,000 anyway? Like, what more do you need to give to people? How do you bring it to that next level?
I think when I look at the launch code participants and their different pitches, is they need someone to kind of get up there and set the stage for how exciting of what that next 4 minutes is going to be. What those finalists are bringing to the stage is something they have put like sweat and tears and time into, and they're so proud to present. They need someone to kind of get that audience excited and energized. Something I did during my opening at this year's ClioCon is remind the audience and the attendees that to cheer, to let people know that you're excited at what these people are doing. I don't get to interact with our software as often as I work in employee experience. So when I'm watching these, it's so cool to see these different integrations being customized for each different types of practice law and different kind of use cases. And it is exciting to watch these different kind of optimizations come to life and the passion that each one of these groups has in presenting these pitches. It's just exciting. It's like sitting side stage before their big moment and just letting them know they'll be okay. And yeah, I love it.
Have you ever gotten the wave started at one of these things? Or is that one of your goals?
I dreamt of starting the wave, but it's
Yeah,
sort
I
of
feel
hard
like-
to tell at 8:30 in the morning if people are quite ready
That's
for the
true.
wave.
That's true.
It's-
Maybe save that for 11.
Yeah, yes, Clio Cloud 11 or Hour 11, all a good option.
So you also work on culture at Clio, right?
Yeah.
When you're not emceeing all these events. So
Yeah.
how does launch code play into like Clio's culture on a larger scale?
At Clio, what we're focusing on doing is our mission, which is transforming the practice of law for good. And by creating a culture where our employees can do the best work of our lives, it lets us create the best software that we can, that then lets these different integration partners work with a software that's usable and that can really transform how these practices do their everyday work. So by creating a space for our developers to enjoy their work, to like being at work, I think it reflects in our software. It reflects in how the products came together. And then it also creates us or puts us in this position that companies do want to integrate with Clio. They believe not only in the software we create, but the mission that we have and the value that we offer to our users. And so by creating this space for our employees to do the best work of their life, it in turn offers our integration partners a really great partner to work with.
Yeah, I think you guys have done an awesome job creating like a real platform for your integration partners, probably more so than any other legal tech company has done. So kudos to you on that. That's me being a hype man. How was I?
We appreciate
Very,
it.
very close. Yeah.
I work with Lil Jon on the side, so this is what I do in my other gig. All right, let's turn to Molly. Molly, you came out from Chicago to do this competition. So you're probably like, if you're going to fly me to San Diego from Chicago, I will literally do whatever, right?
Yes,
Yes. A little warmer out here, I think.
it is a little warmer.
Has it been getting cold in Chicago as yet, or no?
We haven't had any freeze, but it's much nicer
You're getting
here.
there.
I mean,
Soon
I love
enough.
Chicago for Chicagoans listening.
But in all
It's
seriousness,
not like I don't hate it, but I really love San Diego right now.
well, I know you would have come out to this if it was in Anchorage, right? So, like, what makes you want to come out to judge the LaunchCode competition?
This was really exciting. It was an exciting opportunity to see some of the behind the scenes of how some of these technologies are integrated into Clio, and really the investment that Clio has into technologies that help support their mission. That was one of their criteria for judging, and really solve some of the pain points for lawyers at all levels of practice. So I think that was interesting too with the finalists this year, that there was a nice diversity to choose from and see presentations from. I would actually have loved to see this whole 70. I bet it's a really interesting snapshot of where innovation is happening in the industry right now.
Are you saying they should expand the number of finalists next year? I think that's what I'm hearing. Andrew's shaking his head. He's like, no.
It's an impressive project. I think it was great to be a part of it. And it was interesting to see the judging criteria in person. And
So which presentation was the worst? Don't answer that. I'm just kidding. So you got to see some interesting presentations today. Without naming any names, what were some high-level themes that you saw that were interesting coming out of LaunchCodes in terms of like how these companies are working with law firms?
I think the easiest way for me to answer that is to kind of go back to earlier in the day when Jack Newton was speaking at his keynote. And it was really clear to me that Clio does focus on identifying and solving pain points in the industry. And that's really what I was looking for with this group. And I felt like each of them brought certain kind of critical points, and you could see the audience get into it where, they would clap, they would applaud certain solutions. And that's kind of exciting to see. And when there's applause, especially widespread, that everybody's feeling that.
That or Jesse standing next to people poking them and being like, now is
that
the
also
time.
could have been it.
And you said you thought it was interesting that there's enough different solutions in the Clio environment now that there are really solutions for small firms, mid-sized firms, larger firms. I think that's really interesting. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Well, I think what Andrew said, you have 197 integrations now. That's quite a few. I imagine that's.
Yes.
I have not had a chance to go through to see whether there's overlap with some of these, but it seems like even just from the group that we saw today, they can either be really small firms to scaled up pretty large, and be able to use some of these solutions.
Awesome. So this was great insight into Clio's LaunchCode competition taking place today during day one of Clio Con. Winners announced by the time this podcast is published. I think I made everybody feel uncomfortable enough at this point, so we're going to stop the podcast right now. We've reached the end of our episode. So before we head out, I want to thank our guests for joining us today. So let's go in reverse order this time, and we'll start with Molly. Thank you, Molly, for coming out. Thank you, Jesse, and thank you, Andrew. We really appreciate it. Now, if our listeners want to find out more about each of you or how to follow up or get more information about what it is that you do, how can they find out more about you and about the companies you represent? Molly, do you want to start?
You can find me on social media. I'm pretty easy to find, and it's Molly McDonough on Twitter, Molly_McDonough.
That should be easy enough to find. All right, everybody look up Molly. Jesse, how can people find you?
And similar as the millennial I am on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Jesse Harink, and LinkedIn as well.
I think you need to be also printing and selling these dope jackets, because I bet you could have a nice little side gig doing that.
I mean, I'm not sure about selling the jackets. I just like wearing clothes.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. All right, Andrew, last of all.
Yeah,
your jacket is also nice. I shouldn't like.
I am wearing LaunchCode swag today.
This
absolutely.
is official LaunchCode swag.
This is official LaunchCode, exclusive LaunchCode swag. I am definitely on LinkedIn. I'm also going to direct people to the app directory. That's really the heart and soul of everything I do. Clio.com/app directory. Like Molly said, we're up to 197 and crossing 200 probably in the next couple weeks, which is super exciting. I think it's for us thrilling to be able to say we have hundreds of integrations.
Yeah.
I think that's, but really we're on the march to thousands. That's where we want to go. And the goal is to, really, I think to expand on what Molly said, the goal is to ensure that people can use whatever they want with Clio. That's where we want to be.
And so you're also looking for startup companies to reach out to you as well, I would imagine.
Absolutely. We love when people reach out. I will say vocally, like, we do our best to reach out and hunt and, help drive innovation. But, it's hard. There's a lot out there. And we are very, very receptive to having people reach out to us.
So I think the message, if you're a legal tech company out there that's starting up, don't be afraid to contact Clio.
Don't be afraid, and in fact, I would do that the first thing you do. If you're not launching with a Clio integration, you're missing a huge opportunity for basically an automatic distribution network. Build on Clio.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. I appreciate it. And that's it from the Clio Cloud Conference for this On the Road episode. Thanks to our listeners for tuning in. If you like what you heard, please rate and review us in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app, which maybe I've not heard of before myself. This has been Jared Correia, and until next time, thank you for listening.
If you'd like more information about what you've heard today, please visit LegalTalkNetwork.com. Subscribe via iTunes and RSS. Find us on Twitter and Facebook, or download our free Legal Talk Network app in Google Play and iTunes. The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer.